Good morning. Before the world has a chance to tell you who you are, what you can't do, or what you should fear, you have a sacred, quiet moment. A moment that belongs only to you. In that moment, the most important conversation you will have all day is the one you have with yourself. What you say in that conversation sets the stage for everything that follows. So let's fill that space with power, with purpose, and with truth. Here are the things you must tell yourself every single morning. It begins before the first sip of coffee, before the glare of the phone screen, in that hazy, quiet space between sleep and the world's demands. This is your moment of sovereignty. The day stretches out before you, a blank canvas, and you hold the brush. The most critical decision you will make all day isn't which task to tackle first or what to wear. It is the foundational choice of your attitude. This is not some fluffy self-help platitude. It is the raw psychological truth that the lens through which you view your reality will in fact become your reality. To say, today I choose my attitude, is to seize the helm of a ship that the world is constantly trying to steer. It is an act of defiance and a declaration of self-determination. Think about the default settings we so often operate on. The alarm goes off, and the mind immediately scrolls through a list of grievances, the fatigue from a poor night's sleep, the dread of a long commute, the anxiety of a looming deadline. We are reactive creatures by nature, waiting for external stimuli to dictate our internal state. We board the train and let a stranger's rude comment sour our mood. We walk into the office and let a single terse email send us into a spiral of frustration. In these moments, we have handed over the keys to our own emotional kingdom. We have become passengers in our own lives, mistaking reaction for action. But this is not an inescapable fate. It is a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken and replaced with one of profound power. Choosing your attitude is the deliberate, conscious interruption of that reactive cycle. It is the mental equivalent of stopping, taking a deep breath, and saying, "No, I will not let this dictate who I am." It is recognizing that between the external event and your internal response, there is a space. In that space lies your freedom and your power. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote from the depths of a Nazi concentration camp, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing the last of the human freedoms." To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. If such a choice of attitude was possible in those most horrific of circumstances, then what excuse do we have in the face of traffic, or a difficult conversation, or a stressful workload? Our circumstances are rarely as dire, yet we so readily surrender this fundamental freedom. So, what does it look like in practice? It is an active daily practice, a form of mental hygiene. It begins with that morning affirmation, spoken aloud to your reflection, or whispered quietly in your heart. Today I choose my attitude. But the statement alone is not enough. It must be followed by a conscious curation of your focus. You are not denying the existence of negative things. You are simply deciding which elements you will give your energy to. You can choose to focus on the one thing that went wrong yesterday, or you can choose to anchor yourself in the three things that went right. You can choose to dread the difficult meeting at 2 p.m., or you can choose to invest your mental energy in the productive, quiet hours of the morning leading up to it. This is not naive positivity, it is strategic focus. It is understanding that your attention is your most valuable currency, and you must spend it wisely. This choice ripples outwards from you and impacts everything and everyone you touch. Your attitude is an energy field you carry with you. When you walk into a room with a mindset of gratitude and optimism, you are not just changing your own experience, you are subtly altering the ecosystem of that room. People feel it. A smile offered genuinely to a barista can change the trajectory of their day. A calm, proactive response in a crisis can steady the nerves of an entire team. Conversely, a chosen attitude of cynicism or irritation is a toxin you release into your environment. It breeds resentment, stifles collaboration, and confirms your own worst beliefs about the world. The choice you make in the quiet of your morning is never just for you. It is a social contract, a contribution to the collective mood. Ultimately, this practice builds what psychologists call an internal locus of control. This is the deeply held belief that you are the primary author of your life, not a victim of external forces. When you consistently choose your attitude, you are strengthening that muscle of authorship. You are building some kind of evidence for your own agency. You start to see that a bad morning does not have to mean a bad day. A professional setback does not have to define your self-worth. You begin to navigate life not as a leaf blown by the wind, but as a sailor who understands the seas, sometimes turbulent, sometimes calm, but always with a hand on the rudder and an eye on the horizon. The storms will still come. The winds of difficulty will still blow. But your ship, steadied by the daily, deliberate choice of its captain, will not be so easily capsized. It will sail on, resilient and directed, because its course was set not by the weather, but by the will of the one who commands it. The second declaration you must make to yourself each morning is perhaps the most transformative, and certainly the most difficult to genuinely believe when you are in the thick of struggle. It is the conscious reframing of your entire relationship with difficulty. My challenges are opportunities for growth. This is not about slapping a happy face sticker on a broken window. It is about understanding the fundamental mechanics of strength, both of character and of capability. It is about recognizing that comfort and ease are the architects of stagnation, while friction and resistance are the very forces that forge resilience, wisdom, and a deeper capacity for life. Consider the natural world. A tree that grows in a perfectly sheltered greenhouse, protected from every wind, may grow tall, but its wood is soft and weak. Its roots remain shallow, never forced to dig deep into the earth to find anchorage and sustenance. Contrast this with the ancient pine clinging to a windswept cliff face. Its trunk is gnarled and twisted, its branches shaped by decades of battering storms. It is not a picture of pristine, effortless beauty, but it is unshakably strong. Its very form is a map of every challenge it has endured and overcome. The wind, which seemed its enemy, was in fact its most essential teacher, the very force that made it impossible to uproot. Our lives are no different. The easy path, the one of least resistance, does not build strength. It merely allows us to coast. It is the uphill climb, the rocky terrain, the unexpected storm that forces us to discover muscles we never knew we had. When we face a professional setback, a failed project, or a critical review, the immediate visceral reaction is often one of defeat. The ego feels bruised, and the mind races to label the event as a pure negative, a stain on our record. But what if we paused and asked a different set of questions? What if we asked, what did this experience reveal about a blind spot I have? Or how did this failure teach me a better way to communicate, to plan, to execute? A failed project is not just a failure, it is a data collection mission. It provides invaluable, albeit painful, information that success often obscures. Success can sometimes be the result of luck or favorable conditions, but failure is always a ruthless and honest professor. It strips away illusion and shows you exactly where your current limits lie, thereby giving you the precise coordinates for your next area of development. The person who has never failed has never been tested, and therefore has never truly learned the depths of their own capacity to adapt and persevere. This principle extends with even greater force to our personal and emotional lives. The loss of a relationship, a period of ill health, a season of profound loneliness. These are the deep personal winters of the soul. In their midst, it feels impossible to see them as anything other than pure suffering. Yet, it is in these frozen periods that the most crucial inner work is often done. Loneliness can teach you the profound difference between being alone and being lonely, and it can force you to build a friendship with yourself that becomes the bedrock of all your future relationships. Heartbreak, while shattering, can crack you open and create a new, unexpected capacity for empathy, for understanding the universal human experience of loss. It can cleanse you of naivete and replace it with a more resilient, more compassionate form of love. Physical struggle can teach you a reverence for the body, and its fragility, a lesson in gratitude for health that is never learned by those who have always had it. These challenges do not happen, guys, to you in a strange and difficult way. They happen for you. They are the curriculum of a hidden, essential school whose sole purpose is to build the depth and richness of your character. Embracing this mindset requires a conscious act of cognitive reappraisal. It means that when the challenge arrives, instead of the default narrative of, "Why is this happening to me?" you practice the more empowered narrative of, "What is this here to teach me?" This simple shift in language is a seismic shift in psychology. It moves you from a passive victim of circumstance to an active student of experience. You begin to approach problems not as obstacles to be dreaded, but as puzzles to be solved, as levels to be beaten in the video game of your own development. The anxiety that once paralyzed you begins to transform into a focused determination. The frustration melts into curiosity. You start to understand that the feeling of being uncomfortable, of being stretched beyond your current limits, is not a sign that you are breaking, but a sign that you are growing. Growth, by its very nature, cannot happen within the confines of what is already comfortable and known. It requires a departure from the shore. So each morning, when you look in the mirror and declare, "My challenges are opportunities for growth," you are not just reciting a positive mantra. You are doing the mental equivalent of a warrior strapping on their armor. You are preloading your resilience. You are programming your subconscious to seek the lesson in the struggle, to find the gift in the difficulty. You are preparing yourself to meet the day not with fear and avoidance, but with a quiet, steadfast courage, knowing that whatever the world brings, it is just another session in the gym of your own potential. The weight may be heavy, the exercise may be grueling, but you are not being crushed, you are being built. And with every rep, you are becoming stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than you were the day before.